नमस्कार दोस्तों, मेरा नाम है प्रकाश भारद्वाज और आपका स्वागत है वायरल टॉक्स में। आज जो हमारे गेस्ट हैं बहुत ही खास हैं। वैसे तो वो रसिया से बिलोंग करते हैं, लेकिन उनकी आध्यात्मिक जर्नी उनको इंडिया लेके आ गई। उनकी आध्यात्मिक यात्रा में कुछ ऐसी घटनाएं घटी कि वो भारतीय संस्कृति, भगवद गीता और भगवान श्री कृष्ण से जुड़ गए और फिर उन्होंने अपना सारा जीवन यहीं पे दे दिया। तो स्वागत करते हैं आज के हमारे गेस्ट भक्ति विज्ञान गोस्वामी जी का। वेलकम सर, हाउ आर यू?
धन्यवाद, वेरी गुड।
We'll discuss about your book later. First, I want to discuss about your journey. From where did it start?
My spiritual journey, आध्यात्मिक यात्रा,
Right.
शुरू किया in 1980, 44 years back, when I read Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
At that time, Russia was communist country, and
In the Russia.
yes, and it was strictly atheistic.
Right.
God didn't exist in Russia.
Right.
At that time, undergroundly, somehow or other, I got the book Bhagavad Gita. And I read Bhagavad Gita and I was so impressed. At that time, I was doing my PhD degree. I'm a scientist by background.
Okay.
And I was impressed by Bhagavad Gita because I could understand that this is not just a religious book, that this is a science. This is a very rational, scientific book about God and reality. So this is what impressed me. And Bhagavad Gita was the beginning of my journey. And Bhagavad Gita continues to accompany me through this Adhyatmik Yatra. And ultimately, I came here to Bharat and mostly living here in Bharat.
Okay. When you came India first time?
First time I came to India in 1989.
Okay.
So that was long ago. India was completely different. There was only ambassador cars at that time in India. And but I was immediately impressed by the atmosphere of the country. I could understand that this is a very spiritual country, and people are spiritual and very pious and religious.
Right. So you came India for this ISKCON things or?
Yes, I came to India at that time. ISKCON was severely persecuted. Krishna consciousness movement was persecuted in Soviet Union, and but the changes started taking place in Russia, and ultimately they recognized ISKCON, and that was the first group of pilgrims from Russia to come to India, and we had very VIP reception. We met with Rajiv Gandhi at that time in his residence, and
In India.
in India, yes,
Very good.
As the first group of Russian Hare Krishna devotees in India. So it was a big deal.
Very good. And from 1989 to 2024?
Well, since that time I was studying very deeply. I was studying Sanskrit.
Okay.
I was studying Upanishads and other Vedic scriptures. I was studying the culture of India. And ultimately, I'm now spending most of my time in India, near Vrindavan in Govardhan Parvat. So that's my residence place. And I'm writing books about Srimad Bhagavatam, mostly in Russian, but now it's in English also.
So, one question is my personal. At that time, I think you were 24 years old.
Yes.
Right. So, there is any problem from your family side because you are choosing different paths?
There was a lot of problems from my family side because as I said, I'm from scientific background.
Right.
My parents were
And also from Russia.
from Russia, from atheistic country.
Yeah, no one is believing on God.
Scientist, and all of a sudden, this very drastic change in my lifestyle. I became vegetarian. Of course, my family was not vegetarian, and at that time, vegetarianism was not even heard about, in Russia. So there was was a lot of problems from my family side. They couldn't understand what's going on with me. But I was quite determined to follow the path. And ultimately, they recognized that this is a good way to do.
Okay.
Ultimately, they could see that there are some benefits in this lifestyle. Even though it was difficult for them to come in terms to this change. But for me, what was the most important is that I was searching for truth. I was not searching for an institution or religion. I was searching for Satya. And Satyam eva jayate, because Satya always is victorious. Ultimately, I was victorious in my attempts to do it.
And when you realize first time, you should, now you need to connect with some, you need to start your spiritual journey. What is the first realization?
Even before that, I was not satisfied because I was looking for meaning of life.
Right.
And without God, life is meaningless. There is no meaning in life. Life is empty. And I couldn't understand. I didn't believe in God. I was an atheist. I was a Gnostic person. But there was a quest. What is this life all about?
Okay.
What should I do in my life?
Right.
What should I dedicate my life to? I was not, I was not happy with the prospect of just eating, sleeping, and, making happy life and then dying without any sense.
Right.
But when I read Bhagavad Gita, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explained everything. Krishna explained very beautifully what is the meaning of life.
Right.
Starting from the very beginning, that I am not this body. Yes, as a sharir nahi hu. I am not this body. I am not. I am soul, and soul is eternal. For the first time, I started. It made complete sense to me because we all feel that we don't die. We really feel that I exist. How is it that I will not exist? So, but the body changes. Soul doesn't change. Now I'm 60, almost 68 years old. I still don't feel any changes. When I was there, when I was 24, now 40 years later, I'm the same. 44 years later, I'm the same. Body is completely changed.
Right.
Everything changed. Environment changed, mind changed, but the soul is the same. I'm the same. And I will be the same person even after this. So that's the first discovery which made me so impressed. But even before that, I was looking for this sort of meaning, which is not limited by this short life.
Right. Very good. Very good. So, when you decided now your complete life is dedicated to Krishna, and
it took me some time to dedicate my life to Krishna.
Because you have at the age of 24, you have a very golden opportunity for your career also.
Yeah. So I got my PhD degree first.
From Russia?
From Russia, yes.
Very good.
I graduated from Moscow State University and I got my PhD degree in molecular biology. I was continuing my science, but at the same time I was doing my spiritual practice, my sadhana. But then because of the environment, political environment in the country, some of my friends, devotee friends who were practicing Hare Krishna were put in prison without any reason. They were just chanting Hare Krishna, and that was enough reason for the government to put them in prison, to torture them. So I ultimately somehow rather left Russia, Soviet Union at that time, and went to Sweden. And at that time, I stayed in ashram in Hare Krishna temple in Sweden. And there I started translating books from English into Russian. And around that time, when I was 33 years old, I decided that I will just do this for the rest of my life.
Right. What do you feel about the Krishna? Krishna is the supreme God, according to you? Yeah, because in India, there are numbers of God exist.
Yeah, सही बात है. लेकिन भगवद गीता में व्यासदेव जी कहते हैं कि श्री कृष्ण भगवान, श्री भगवान उवाच.
Right.
And Bhagavan means God. Bhagavan means God. Of course, you can call Shiva Bhagavan, you can call this Bhagavan, Vyasadeva Bhagavan.
Right.
But the definition of Bhagavan is given in Vishnu Puran. Vishnu Puran says, Aishvaryasya samagrasya aviryasya sakshriya jnana vairagya ischaiva. Bhagavan is somebody who is supreme in his Aishvarya, and his Jnana, and his Vairagya, and his Virya, and his Shri. So there are different, yes, there are different gods, but the most attractive manifestation of God is called Krishna. That's the meaning of word Krishna. Krishna means the one who attracts.
Oh.
Karshati. Krishna is coming from Karshati.
Akarshit, correct.
Akarshit.
Right.
So he's attracting, and that's God. God, this is the most beautiful definition of God, who attracts everyone to himself, who makes everyone completely mesmerized by his beauty.
Right. So in Krishna Bhakti, I think lots of devotees, I saw they wear Tulsi Mala. What is the reason behind they wear Tulsi Mala? Or is it necessary?
Is a representative of Yoga Maya.
Okay.
Yoga Maya is the energy of God which connects soul with God. That's why it's called Yoga Maya. The material illusory energy is called Mahamaya.
Okay.
But Yoga Maya is the energy of connection, the energy of yoga. So Tulsi is the representation of this Yoga Maya. When we have Tulsi Mala, it basically means that we are, through the media of this energy of God, is in connection with God. It helps us to connect with God.
Okay.
That's why we chant the holy name on Tulsi Mala. That's why we have Kanti Mala from Tulsi. And that's why we live in Vrindavan, which is the place of Tulsi.
Right. So another question I have, eating the onion, garlic, non-vegetarian, is it necessary? You need to leave all these, you should be vegetarian for the Bhakti Panth.
See,
there is any logic behind that?
Yes, definitely there is logic. Bhakti Mark is a science.
Right.
That's why my name means Bhakti Vijnana, the science of Bhakti.
Right.
So, it's a science of consciousness.
Right.
How whatever you do influences your consciousness. Whatever practices you do, how it influences your consciousness. You can do whatever you like, but if you want to create consciousness which is conducive to feel God, then you should avoid eating meat, you should avoid onion and garlic. It entirely depends on you. You're a free citizen of a free country.
Right.
You can do whatever you like. But if you want to feel God, and if you want reciprocation from God, and who doesn't want to have reciprocation from God, then you have to follow certain rules. And one very natural scientific rule is that you shouldn't kill some other living entities. By eating non-veg, you're killing other children of God. And naturally, it's not very pleasing to the Father who created everyone. So the science behind this is that while not eating non-veg food, your heart will become more soft.
Okay.
And with the soft heart, with more subtle heart, you can feel the presence of God and you can feel the reciprocation of God.
Right.
Regarding onion and garlic, piyaz, lasun, they just have tamasic effect. They're from
Tamasic,
tamagun.
right.
And tamasic effect is just influencing your consciousness and brings it down to the lower level. That's the science behind it.
Right. I have a good friend who is a non-vegetarian, and he has also, soft heart. So,
of course, there is no doubt about it. But ultimately, you can be soft-hearted by eating meat, no doubt about it. But the extent of the softness of the heart, when your heart will become really soft, you will not be able to eat meat because you will feel that there is some suffering in these products. And ultimately, it's more healthy from the physical point of view. It's much better from emotional point of view because it gives you more positive energy.
right.
The vegetarian food is much more positive, and there is a lot of scientific research in this regard. And it gives you spiritual benefit because ultimately it is said in Dharma Shastras that you shouldn't eat meat. Or you can eat meat, but there are so many restrictions. See, it's not by accident that any religion puts some restrictions on meat. There is no restrictions on potato. There is no restriction on tomato. But every religion, Christianity, puts some restriction on meat. You cannot eat meat on this days, fasting days, this and that.
Okay.
Muslim religion, you only have to have halal meat and, so many restrictions and so many. Every religion, Buddhism religion says not eat meat. And of course, Vedas.
I agree.
So it's a science, it's a scientific reason, because if you don't eat meat, then your consciousness will become, then you will become naturally more religious. Naturally more religious.
Right. So I think you spend lots of time in the US also.
Yes.
And no doubt Russia also and in India. Yes. So what is the difference, cultural difference between the US, India and the Russia?
The US is a very pragmatic country.
Right.
It's a country which is based on money. Money is the main god. That's why they say, in God we trust, and it's written in a dollar. Their main god, like Krishna is our main god, but their main god is dollar. So, of course, there are many beautiful people in US, but all in all, it's a very pragmatic country, and it doesn't have so much. It doesn't give you so much room to express your, spontaneous nature. Sure. India is completely spontaneous. In India, time is not a main consideration. In America, it's very important, to be on time. In India, no.
As you earlier said, Krishna means Akarsan.
Yeah.
So in dollar means Akarsan, dollar also, dollar also correct.
Akarsan, yeah. Dollar. That's why I said that this is the main god for US. Most Americans.
Right.
Again, there are, it's a beautiful country, beautiful people, but it's a very pragmatic country. And Russia is completely different. Russia, there is a lot of seekers of the truth in Russia. They're looking for some spirituality. It's a country which is with a lot of suppressed people, suppressed sentiments, but ultimately people want to find the truth because they're so suppressed.
Right.
In India, people are very free. They are spontaneous. I would say that Indian people are the most free people I have ever seen. In America, they're very, they're very regulated by all these rules and, economic pressure and everything.
Sure.
In Russia, they're suppressed by the government. And in India, they just, they surrender to God.
You have any bad experience in India?
Oh, plenty.
Because
I love India. I love India. India is my favorite country. I love Indian people. But, sometimes people are cheating. Sometimes people are dishonest. Sometimes people are very bureaucratic. You can, if you, they're very stiff. In any country, you can have good people and bad people. But the atmosphere in the country, the culture, it's still the most beautiful culture in the world.
So, one of my questions, why do many all-educated people like engineer, doctor are connecting with ISKCON? What is the reason behind?
Exactly as I said, because ISKCON is presenting spirituality as a science, not as a religion. As a rationally understandable science. It's very important. We're explaining the science behind chanting, why it is important to chant the holy name of God. We're explaining the science behind following certain principles, like why we're not meeting it. We're not just giving dogmas. Do this and you will be saved. Don't do this, otherwise you will go to hell. No, this is not the presentation. Srila Prabhupada, our founder, he was very emphatic by explaining the Vedic culture and Bhagavad Gita and presenting Bhagavad Gita as a science, as a rationally understandable science. And that's why, as you said, doctors and scientists and university professors, they become followers of Krishna consciousness because of this sort of presentation.
So how it runs, how it works, because huge infrastructure, huge organization, multiple country, multiple people, how it works, how you work together. There is language barrier, there is, I think, mental barrier also there. So how you connect it all together?
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle, right? It's a miracle.
It's a miracle in itself to have a big international institution with so many diversities of people, languages, as you said. But because we have the common center, which is Krishna, and practices, spiritual practices, because we are very dedicated to our founder Acharya, who is Prabhupada, our teacher. And because we have common goal, we all have the same goal, the same desire, then it's possible. It's actually, the Vedic culture is stressing the same thing, like in Varnashrama system, there are different Varnas, there are different ashramas. Why these people live together peacefully? Because there is a common center and there is a common goal. Why in modern world there is no peace? Why there is so much war? Why there is now war between Russia and Ukraine? Why there are so many other wars now in Palestine and Israelis? Because there is no common center and there is no common goal. And everyone has his own goals. So our society, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, or Antarashtriya Andulam, Krishna Bhavanamrita Mandulam. So it works because there is common center and common goal. And we always stress this common center and common goal. And within this, when there is common center and common goal, there is so much diversity, which is allowed within these parameters. You know, I'm Russian, I'm speaking with you, and you're Indian, but you know, on the level of the heart,
Right.
there is
Very common.
much more common.
Right.
Much more common. I can understand you, you can understand me,
Right.
even without knowing the language.
Right. True. One question is there. In ISKCON, what is happiness according to you? A monk from ISKCON, what is happiness?
What is happiness?
Yes.
Happiness is the feeling, of course, but this feeling comes naturally when you understand that your life is meaningful, that you can do something good,
Right.
that your contribution has some positive effect on the world, and ultimately that you are a good person. It's very important for the happiness to understand I am good.
True.
I am doing something good, and I'm not doing something wrong. Because people, when they do something wrong, they're fearful inside. When they do some crime or they do some, you know, take some bribes or whatever, they cannot be happy. You know, the happiness is that, you know, there is God, and you follow the law of God. How you can be a happy citizen? You can only be a happy citizen if you know that there is government and there is some laws of the government, and you follow these laws and you're peaceful.
Right.
Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Shantasya kutak sukham, how there can be happiness without shant, without peace, without... So the first level of happiness is this peace. I'm happy, I'm peaceful, I'm living good life. My afterlife will be also good. That's good. But then, on this peaceful background, when you chant the name of God, especially in the kirtan, when the kirtan is going on, you become very happy without any reason, just because you're chanting the name of God.
Right.
This is the effect which I immediately felt. When I first came to a kirtan, that was long, long ago in 1980s, for the first kirtan I came, I was amazed because it completely transported my consciousness into a different realm without any, conscious endeavors. I didn't know, I was not even prepared. I just realized I'm somewhere else.
Right.
So the happiness on the beginning level is just peace because I'm living the good life. But on a higher level, it's just happiness of being closer to God through the media of His name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Right. Right. So you're discussing about the kirtan, and one video is in these days. It's a video is very viral. It's about the Radhe Bhajman Radhe Radhe. One girls from the I think South Africa.
Okay.
She chanting Radhe.
Yes.
Right. It's a beautiful thing, no doubt. I personally believe. So chanting is a very beautiful thing. When you chant about the Krishna. And
chanting is the most beautiful thing, and that's the way to transcendence, especially in this Kali Yuga. This Kali Yuga is a very, it's the whole atmosphere is very loud. There are so many loudspeakers and everything. So, and
loudspeaker means the loudspeaker or a speaker who speak loud.
Yeah, and your mind is also very loud.
Right.
We think loud. Internet is so loud, and all these things. To be connected with God, we have to out loud all this noise, external noise, by loudly chanting the name of God, the name of Radha, the name of Krishna, the name of Ram, the name of Hari.
So, do you have any enlightenment or experience of Krishna?
Yes, definitely. It's not a, it's not a, it's not recommended to speak about your own experiences,
Right.
because it's something which is internal,
Right.
which is between us.
Right.
But without the real spiritual experience, I would not be practicing this spiritual path for 44 years.
Always.
I obviously have some very amazing experiences which I had, but I'm a little hesitant to speak out
Yes.
loudly about this
Yes.
because I want more.
So coming to your book, you wrote a book about the Kunti's phrase. So tell me about something about the book.
The book is called Healing Prayers, and this is the book which explains the science of praying.
Okay.
The Kunti Maharani's prayers is the first set of prayers in Srimad Bhagavatam. In Bhagavad Purana, in this first skanda of this book, the first set of prayers is Kunti's prayers. And they're very special because in these prayers, Queen Kunti, who had very difficult life, she's asking Krishna, Krishna, send me calamities. As if she didn't have enough. She had such a difficult life with Pandavas, with Dhritarashtra, Kauravas, and everyone. So I was very touched by this prayer of Queen Kunti, even when I was practicing Krishna consciousness in the beginning, under this very oppressive rule of Soviet Union. How is that in the most difficult situation, Queen Kunti is asking, please send me more difficult situations.
Okay.
But she explains why. She says, because when the difficult situation comes, I can feel your protection. I can feel the protection of God. And when I feel your protection, I am completely happy and peaceful. So how is it that by praying you can feel God and feel His presence, and how you can heal all the problems which we have through the prayers? She is explaining this science, and I am trying to elaborate on her beautiful explanation. So it's a book about the science behind prayers, and it's the most amazing prayers I ever heard, and hopefully there are some ideas which will help people to understand what the Queen Kunti's prayers are all about, and what we should do, in which mood we should pray, so that God could be kind to us and to answer our prayers.
So my next question is related to prayers. So what do you think, why are healing and prayers such important for us? And how do they relate to our modern society?
Yeah, the modern life is not, the people in the modern life, they created more or less artificial environment. We have everything, the water is coming, and we're not so dependent on the nature and God. Before, people were naturally praying, but actually the instinct of praying is there. I remember when I was a young kid who didn't believe in God and who was from this scientific background, I was still praying to somebody I didn't know who is the one whom I praying to. So, because we're not really complete ourselves, we need the help. What is the prayer? The prayer is the natural instinct which helps us to become more complete.
Right.
By adding the higher power to our life. The prayer is the way to invoke the presence of higher power in our life, and in this way to help us. And everyone needs help. Everyone. There is nobody in this world. The most powerful people need help. The Pratham Mantri Modi needs help because
True.
he also prays.
Right.
Everyone prays.
Right.
So prayer is the way to invoke higher power, and by invoking higher power, to feel that we are more complete. Now we are very small and tiny. By invoking the higher power within our life, we will feel much more happy.
Right. So, just you said PM also needs help.
Yes.
They also do pray. So, one question is there: why can't everyone offer prayer, or why people just like you? Some people are not doing prayer every time. They don't believe. It means I'm a person. I don't believe in prayer. Yeah. So, what is the reason behind it? मेरे जैसे आदमी को भी करना चाहिए, right? Like,
even the person who doesn't believe in prayer in his normal life,
right?
There will be some situation when he will pray.
Obviously.
Yeah.
They don't say, they don't discuss in public domain, but definitely.
Yeah. There is a saying that in a war, there is no atheist during the war.
Right.
Because when you are face to face in a very dangerous situation or very critical situation, you may be a student who doesn't believe in God, but before exam he goes to mandir and puts some 10 rupees in the hundi, and prays and says, please help me with this exam. Everyone needs, but when the life is seemingly smooth, then we feel, I don't need prayers. But then the time comes, but in reality, it's an illusion because we always need some help. We need some help by the very nature, because we are, and why people don't pray? Kya karna chahiye? Ultimately, to understand that you to be happy, you need to pray. You have to have good association.
True.
Why people don't have? That's why in Vedic culture, in Vedic Sanskriti, punah punah, there is one thing is there: sadhu sangha, sadhu sangha, sadhu sangha, satsanga, satsang, satsang. Why satsang is there? Why satsang is so necessary? Because when you are in association with somebody who is saintly, who is sadhu, who is sat, who knows the truth, you feel like him. You learn from him how to become happy in this life. So, if somebody doesn't feel like praying, but still understands that there is a need, and then the only advice is there, just have satsang, and then you will feel that, then you will feel like praying, then you will feel. But ultimately, I can tell you, everyone at one point of his life or her life prays.
Right.
And especially before death, when we are in this critical junction of our life, when we know that we are passing away, people will pray. People will, at least will try to pray if it's not too late.
Right. So in India, there is many culture, different beliefs are there. So do you ever believe in Indian rituals, not as spirituality? Like you said, in exam time, people goes mandir and, they do sindoor, puja, mantra. So do you ever believe in these rituals? Because spirituality and I think rituals are different.
Originally, all the rituals have the scientific basis.
Okay.
But what happened with the passage of time, people forget about these scientific reasons behind the rituals, and it becomes just a mechanical ritual, and they just believe in ritual, and they don't understand why they're doing.
Right.
There's a beautiful story about the cat. One pujari was doing puja, and cat was disturbing him, and he tied the cat during the puja, and then he died, and then but then it became a custom that during the puja, cat should be tied to a column. The cat died, but they brought another cat. Originally the idea was, the cat is disturbing, and therefore he put her in a box or whatever, or tied her. So the point is that, every ritual has some reason behind it. And some very deep scientific reason, but then in the passage of time, it just become mechanical, and people say, just some miraculous magic act which we do. So I believe in Vedic culture, and I believe that everything which is there in Vedic culture has very strong scientific and rational reasons behind. But sometimes it's forgotten, and I try to find out, to discover what is the truth, what is the reason behind it. So I believe in rituals, but not in the magic of the rituals, but in the science, because the rishis, the sages of the past, they knew what they're doing. They were not, and ultimately, it's all the rituals are to help us to remember about God. There is a very beautiful verse which says, "Smartavyach satatam vishnum, vismartavyach najaduchit." Sarva vidi nisheda siu etayoreva kinkara. All the vidi and nishedas, all the rules, all the rituals, only to help us to remember about God and not to forget about Him.
True. So, one question is from your book. I think you discuss about the Aswasthama.
Yes.
Some people believe they're still alive in the usual.
Yes.
Do you have a belief on this logic?
Yeah, he's Chiranjeevi. He's, according to Vedic scriptures, he's supposed to be the next Vyasadeva in the next Satya Yuga. So, and some people encounter him. Some people see him, like Pilot Baba, the famous yogi from Himalayas. He says that he met with Ashwatthama. Some people met Ashwatthama in Himalayas. Some very tall person with bleeding in his head, because Arjuna cut the money, the jewel from his head with which he was born. And some people met with him. And even not so long ago, some probably 100 years ago, Ashwatthama would come to one person and would dictate him his version of Mahabharata. And this version of Mahabharata was recorded as a Tulu Mahabharata by one Pandit. And supposedly it's directly from the mouth of Ashwatthama. Ashwatthama was describing his version of the events of Mahabharata war. And that's...
What is the name of that book?
Tulu Mahabharata.
Tulu Mahabharata.
In Tulu, yeah.
Okay.
You can reference it. I don't remember the exact, but it's Tulu Mahabharata. It's very famous.
Okay.
So it's not only the anecdotic, happenings, somebody met, but, there are some tangible proofs that he was there, an encounter was there. He was explaining some details which nobody knew, only he could know, because he is Ashwatthama himself.
Right.
Yes, and I'm explaining this little bit in the book, the whole story of Ashwatthama and how Krishna cursed him.
Okay.
Krishna personally cursed him and said that you will be homeless till the end of this Kali Yuga. For thousands of years, you will be just wandering without finding any shelter and bleeding, but still alive. So, this curse is there in Mahabharata, and Krishna personally says, because of your misbehavior and misdeeds, you will be just wandering without any peace.
Right. So I think there is one more character. I think Rajavali is also still alive. He's in one of the Chiranjeevi. Hanumanji is also still alive. So one question is there. Why all Chiranjeevi is alive only in India? Not in other countries also.
Oh, well, they may visit other countries.
Right.
It is said that Hanuman is still present, whenever Ram Katha is going on. I remember, in proper Ram Katha, you're supposed to have special asan for Hanuman.
Yeah.
You are supposed to invite Hanuman to sit in this asan, and supposedly he is present there. So I remember, I think it was Ramesh Bhai Oja, or who was this, or
Murari
some
Bapu.
other.
Murari Bapu.
Yeah, Murari Bapu came to Russia for his Ram Katha. And they made a special lesson for Hanuman. So I believe that Hanuman might have been there. So he's not necessarily limited to India. He's limited to the place where people speak about Ram. And because most of the people speak about Ram in India, he's mostly in India. But when the people speak about Ram in some other countries, he may be attracted to hear about his Lord and Master in another country as well. Why not?
Right. So in these days, youth, young people are they're facing different problems on their life, like depression and all. So there is any chanting to, they can heal their depression, or they can heal their, pressure, mental problem.
Absolutely. Modern life is very stressful.
Right.
The depression is a result of chronic stress. And modern life, especially students' life, is very stressful with the system which is there in India. Indian education is a very, it's a very tough system. But when you chant, you're relieved from this burden that you have to make it, because you feel that God is there and He also plays a role in your life, and ultimately you become much more peaceful while chanting. Definitely chanting is a very good way to relieve from this immense burden which everyone has in this life. So that's and I know it myself, that's the best way, that's the best remedy, the best healing process.
How should we understand the connection between the faith and trust?
Faith everyone has. Everyone has some little faith in God. Some may not have faith in God. But, faith is just initial thing. You initially believe that maybe there is God. But when you're completely convinced that God is there and He protects you, that means trust. And that's when the faith becomes developed, when it becomes mature, then it turns into trust. I may believe that, somebody exists, but whether He will help me or not, I will only have the faith if I trust Him. Trust means that mature faith when you convinced that God is taking care of you and then He's taking part in your life, basically. And He's behind everything which is there. The trust is this understanding that God is behind everything which is happening with me. And therefore, I have to be connected with Him.
Right. I expected this book to have the different phrases for the different problems. It's not a doctor book. You have a fever, then you can use this drug. What is the reason behind that? You should do this, pray for the different problem. If you're chanting the Krishna, the chant is I think it's enough for every problem.
Yeah, in astrology, if you go to a Jyotish, he will tell you, for this problem you chant this mantra, for that problem you chant that mantra.
But I think the Bhakti Marga name of Krishna is,
Yeah, but that's not, this book is explaining the science behind prayer.
Okay.
And if you know the science, you can do every prayer which you do in a proper way, and the prayer will be effective. And the people don't know the science, they just mechanically repeat the prayer. I'm not explaining the specific prayers for specific problems. First of all, of course, Krishna is Supreme Lord, and he will take care of everything. But I'm mostly concerned with explaining the science, how it works. How it works when you pray, because you may pray and it will not work because you're not doing it in the proper mood. So that's what this book is all about.
Okay, and it's available in market, right?
And hopefully we will do Hindi translation as well. Now it's English translation. It's written in Russian. It's translated into English, but we are also doing Hindi translation.
Very good. So, one final question. You are in India and in Vrindavan also. Or I think there's numbers of sants in Vrindavan. There's a very big miscommunication in different auditors. Some communicate different hours of Bhagavad Gita. ISKCON have own, way of Bhagavad Gita speaking. Who is right? What do you think? Because in every Kathavachak have own, perception about the Gita, about the Krishna. There is numbers of, problem. Vivad is...
I know. Vivad, because that's Kali Yuga.
Latest, I think, Pradeep Mishra's scam in Vrindavan he told something about Radharani. You heard about, I think that's problem.
Yeah. See, the Kali Yuga is the time of quarrel. It's the age of quarrel. Vivad is everywhere. Everyone.
But my question is if some sant, one of sant, said something about the Radharani, so why Sant Samudaya is fighting for internal? It's not good. We are not representing.
It's not good.
It's a very bad impression, I think.
If you understand the internal. The quarrel is only there when your consciousness is into externals. Because externally we are very different.
Right.
You look different, I look different.
Right.
You wear this jeans and I wear this dress, and we may quarrel about this. Why do you wear jeans? I will say to you, and you will say to me, why do you wear dhoti and this kind of stuff? And sometimes people quarrel, the Muslim religion, this religion, and it's all about externals, about some external thing. If we try to go deeper, behind the jeans, behind these clothes, there is a soul. And on the level of soul, there is no quarrel. If I try to understand you, what you are about, and if you try to understand me, that there will be no, when even the saints, sons, they do this, it means that their consciousness is external. On the internal level, there is no quarrel.
Right.
There is no conflict. On the level of the heart, there is no conflict. And that's why prayer is so necessary. If I see somebody and I feel that he is a very, deeply spiritual person and he is very prayerful, he is in meditation, I will respect him. True. I will never say something bad about him, even though maybe externally he is believing in something else.
There is some slip of tongue, or maybe there is, kuch galat ho gaya. So I don't think so. We should fight in, internal community.
Yes.
I don't believe.
Yes. We should not, there is...
It's becoming news in India.
There is enough fighting outside, so why should spiritual people who follow spiritual paths add to this quarrel between themselves? I'm totally against it, and I just, we should try to find common grounds and help people from these common grounds.
एक कोई श्लोक हो जाए गीता का जो आप कहना चाहें?
मन मना भव मद भक्तो मम यजी मम नमस्कुरु माम वैश्यसि सत्यम ते प्रतिजानि प्रियोसि मे. Shri Krishna says in this slok, Man mana bhava mad bhakto mam yaji mam namaskuru. Man mana. First of all, you have to remember about me. Man mana. Give me your mind. Give me your heart. Mad bhava mad bhakto. Become bhakta. Man mana bhava mad bhakto. Mam yaji. Mam yaji means do some rituals to me. Do some yagya to me. Do some sort of sadhana. Mam namaskuru. And if you cannot do even this, just, do namaskar to me. And then, Mame Vaishisi Satyam Te. I am telling you the truth. ये सही बात है कि आप अंत में मेरे पास जरूर आएंगे.
Thank you so much, Bhakti Vijnana, for your time and for your blessing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.